And welcome to Light Years, presented by Chase Freedom. Andy Lou, we are recording this 5 p.m. on Sunday. The Warriors had maybe their best win of the season Saturday night. We could call it the best win of the season.
By far.
We just saw the second coming of Tom Brady in the 49ers game. I feel like, the Debo thing, we don't know for sure, but it seems like worst case was avoided. All in all, Bay Area sports on the upswing.
I cannot believe. Yes, we'll get to all the fun Warrior stuff because we are the Light Years podcast. But dude, listen, man, I just watched
1 minute on Brock.
Give me 1 minute on a big old Brock, man. I've never seen a Kyle Shanahan offense in San Francisco have a quarterback play like this. I think we saw Kyle Shanahan's offense in Atlanta look good with Matt Ryan, or RG3. But, dude, this dynamic, you got Brock Purdy throwing 30-yard bombs down the field. I don't understand why, Jimmy G or Trey Lance, they weren't able to do this, but apparently, or Nick Mullins or CJ Beathard or however many amounts of quarterbacks have been through San Francisco. But this is the most dynamic I've seen a quarterback look. So far, it's only been a game, so who knows? But, I mean, come on. They're running these type of plays.
I felt like we were watching Rudy for a minute.
Not even Brady. He looked like Mahomes out there, right? Where it's just like, because he's a 7th round last pick. So you're just like, who the hell is this guy? But I don't know. It just makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense, but good for him.
I just want to throw this up from friend of the show, Akash. He goes, Brock Purdy has as many 20-plus yard outside the numbers touchdown throws in one half as Jimmy does in 3 years. Man, who knows? The Niners are stacked across the board. In general, when you get to the third stringer, you don't feel confident, but they might just be the team who bucks that trend. I'm happy because this is way too good a team for the season to just be over. Like, let's just see what happens when it keeps going. And it's fun. But yeah, look,
I expected CMC or Jordan Mason to run it 35 times today. That's what I expected, right? Because that's what Kyle usually does, and it just it's highly interesting, fascinating, cool to watch that he's like coming out gunning and throwing the ball. So anyway, that's cool.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Steve Kerr when he trusts a player's IQ. He will let them play, and sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes it's Ty Jerome and Chris Chioza and Anthony Lamb and Juan Toscano-Anderson being playmakers. When you're like, why is Wiseman or Kuminga not handling it? But like, it reminds me so much of that. But anyway, let's get to it. The Warriors,
well done,
emphatically beat the Boston Celtics Saturday night, ABC. By the way, Klay Thompson loves Saturday night games. I swear to God, every one of his best games since he came back from the injuries has been ABC Saturday night. Had a huge one against the Celtics here, and it's just the man makes love to pressure, as Steven Jackson once said. He just loves the bright lights. But I kind of want your big picture thoughts here first, and let's bounce off of this. Do the Warriors just own Boston? Is that what's going on here?
I know that's kind of been a narrative coming out of that game. I haven't felt that way about Boston. Just because I felt when you watch the NBA Finals and you see the first 4 games of the, you could say 4 games of the NBA Finals, it never felt like the Warriors owned them. You could argue they should have been down 3-1. Maybe you could argue they should have been up 3-1. So I don't know if they own them. I don't know that yet, but it feels like this, though. It does, because I was watching that game at Disneyland. A lot of waiting in line at Disneyland. A lot of being very tired and sitting in a cafe in Disneyland. So had a lot of time to watch the game on my phone. Great reception, too, by the way.
2 timeline plan. You have to wait. You don't get what you want immediately. You got to wait for him. No,
exactly right. And so I watched most of the game and then rewatched it when I got home. It feels like Boston's a good matchup for the Warriors. That's what it feels like. It feels like what Boston is trying to do is very much what the Warriors are okay with. And now Boston's become this team where they're not defensively oriented anymore. I don't think now part of that is because Robert Williams is out, but I feel like they want to shoot threes and they want to play fast and they want to pass. It's exactly what the Warriors do. And watching that game, and I know that they're the best team in the NBA, but if you're going to play that style against the Warriors, very, very, very rarely, I could say never is the case, or you're going to win playing the Warriors that way. The teams that beat the Warriors play a slow it down, defensive grind style. And I think the Boston Celtics shifting to this like crazy offense, play fast type of stuff, I think the Warriors are going to always be better doing that. So I think it's a matchup thing. I don't know if they own them, but I mean, maybe it's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, since Steve Kerr took over, no one has beaten the Warriors playing the Warriors game when the Warriors are healthy. It's been the case. We're pushing a decade of it. They are better at that style of basketball than you. I think my thing with Boston is they don't have a player who commands a double team. I love Jason Tatum. I love Jaylen Brown. Like they have like 8 players I would, kill to have on the Warriors. Like everyone wants Marcus Smart on their team. Everyone would like Robert Williams, even though he didn't play tonight. Even guys like Derek White, you want them on your team. They're good bench players. Maybe not at their price, but but there's no one who I'm like, all right, I got to send a second body. There's no Giannis. There's no LeBron. There's no Jokic, honestly. Like, and those 3 guys are guys who obviously operate around the rim, but like, you can even throw Steph into this. Steph, no matter what you do, you're sending 2 to 3 bodies to him every time. And the fact that the Warriors can play Boston straight up means Draymond can move everyone around like chess pieces. And that's been kind of an overwhelming theme with these matchups with Boston. They're physical. They're obviously a good team. But I don't feel like they can generate good enough offense against the Warriors. And then it just comes down to whether the Warriors are going to score enough. And, 4 out of 6 times in the finals they did. And tonight they did. And I guess any way you want to slice it, it doesn't feel like a good matchup for the Celtics.
So that boils it down to one guy then, because then that boils it down to Jason Tatum. So that's the issue, I think, for Boston, is that Jason Tatum is supposed to be the guy that figured out the Warriors, right? It's like how Steph after 2016 became a better defender. It's like how LeBron after losing to the Dallas Mavericks became a better post-up player, a more well-rounded offensive game. It's like you could go down the line of the greats, Kobe, all those guys. They all who was the guy that Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, right? Not who was the guy.
Sure.
Obviously all those guys. So Jason Tatum, you think after getting embarrassed thoroughly by the Warriors, figures it out. So that's supposed to be your guy that's supposed to command a double. Either that or the guy that can just score if you're going to only play one-on-one against them. And every single time I watch the Boston Celtics against the Warriors, I come out thinking, goddamn, Jaylen Brown is good. That's what I think, right? Like we never ever talk about Jason Tatum in a good. And so maybe that's the issue. So is that just a mental thing for Jason Tatum? Either way, I also think the other thing is when you talk about Klay Thompson, the Boston Celtics don't have. They need a
yes.
I think they need like a John. You know where I'm like. They need a John Morant. They need Jason Tatum, Jason Brown types are players that the Warriors' big guards can guard. The Warriors don't have a guy, not anymore, especially
even like post Achilles. Like he's not worried about Tatum muscling him. He's worried about like quick guys.
Yeah, and I think maybe that works in their favor, and we're going to talk about some of the bigger wings here because he was kind of the story of the game. But you throw Wiggins back in there who didn't play last night, right? I know the Boston had a couple big guys that didn't play, but that doesn't stop the fact that if the Warriors didn't even have their best perimeter defender, and that doesn't bode well for Boston. So
no, it doesn't. I feel
very unimpressive, just very unimpressive.
Let's do Klay for one more minute because like you hit on it, and I think. I led with Klay's offense, but I felt like the most impressive thing for Klay was like no issue guarding Tatum on an island. None whatsoever. And like Klay's kind of had issues defensively for most of the year. He's not been he's been quite frankly disappointing on that end for most of the year. What it tells me is 2 things. One, Klay can get to a certain level. That matters in the finals, which is why you and I we're not into people like throwing him under the bus. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, look, man, is he playing disappointingly right now? Absolutely. But I'd still want to see if I can get him back to where he's capable of, because end of the day, there's only a handful of players who can play at that level. Right. The second one is like you said, it's just total matchup stuff. Like Boston, and they don't have guys who can exploit him, quite frankly. It's even Brogdon, who is a nice pickup for them and will help them. He's not a guy who's going to blow by Clay.
By the way, we love Brogdon. Can you imagine if Steve Kerr had Malcolm Brogdon on the team?
Jordan Poole be back in the G League. No.
Jordan Poole is insane, especially in these primetime games. Some of the shots that he shoots. I forget. Oh, it also concerns me a little bit when you talk about Clay playing the way that he did. And some of it's because, I think he's motivated. Saturday night, he had a game off between games, and they blew the game against Utah. The Warriors can beat any single team and probably are the best team in the NBA if it's a 1-game scenario or if it's a 7-game series scenario. But how often are the Warriors going to be able to play like this? And I think that's where my concern is, because watching this game, it's not that it was surprising to me. I don't think that I thought they were going to lose by 20 points, but it wouldn't surprise me if they lost, if they won, even though they weren't favored. But the problem to me is they circled this game and they rested guys for this game. And I think Boston kind of did the same thing. The schedule kind of set it up that way. But the Warriors, you're not going to have this. You just look at the road trip, and there's going to be back-to-backs. They're going to be 1-game breaks, right? And so I think that's the Warriors.
13. Yeah,
exactly. And that's why they're 14-13 because of that.
Yeah, they're not 14-13 because they're ceiling. They're 14-13 because of the maintenance and the floor of what they have. Let's get to you were talking Kuminga a second ago. Let's get to the big dog. My man has been pulling it together here. Pulling up his numbers real quick.
And this is a guy that fixes their floor if he figures it out, which looks like he will.
Last 7 games, averaging 10 points in 21 minutes. 5 rebounds is the number that probably hops for Steve Kerr. The efficiency through the roof, 68%. He's playing like the best version of what we've seen him play at times. And the offense is great because he's basically playing the GP2 role, only he's 6'8". So it's more effective. But where he's really standing out is on the defensive end, and that's where he's going to get on the floor for this team. And that's huge because that's been my number one question with this team is like, where are they getting wing defense from outside of Wiggins? Because Clay was looking poor at the beginning of the season. And, Steph 6'3", and Jordan Poole's not a defender. And wings matter in the playoffs. Like, any way you want to slice it, every series that has ever mattered tends to just devolve to, all right, how many two-way wings you got? How many guys can you throw out there who can't be picked on? And then we're just going to ride with it and see what happens.
That's the big one. I think they expected him to be the two-way big wing coming into the season. I think the Warriors expected that, which you could argue probably a little bit too much trust and belief. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much belief there. The only way that was going to happen, though, is you're going to have to let the kid figure it out, and kids don't figure it out seamlessly. It's never linear, right? And we saw him get benched after the beginning of the season for pretty much 10, 15, however many games, but that can't happen now because at this point, he's too good. He's too good, I would argue, to even sit if he's playing bad. And that's, I think, the bigger point here is you need him to be good so much that you cannot sit him anymore, even if he's not good. And even last night, I would argue he should have played more than he did last night. But you watch that game, and he's on the highest level. I think Steph had a quote after saying that he belonged on the court. You talked about how big he is defensively. To me, it's the offense. To me, it's how comfortable he is not doing stupid shit on offense. It's kind of like, oh, stupid. Like stupid shit kind of just means like it's easy to solve. But I think for someone like Kuminga, it is hard because what he wants to do is he wants to look at the guy in front of him and it's like, oh, it's Luke Cornett. Why can't I just take him off the dribble? It's like, no, that's not how the Warriors play, which is probably not what he wants. But if you do figure out how the Warriors play with Steph and Clay, you are going to average 14 points a game off 7 dunks. Like it's simple as that. And then the rest is he makes a nice pass to Steph for a 3, right? He gets his post touches because he's playing well on offense and defense. And then to your point, defensively, isn't he the perfect athletic profile to guard Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? He is, and Giannis, who we're going to see here on Tuesday night, he is the perfect profile to guard those guys. And if the Warriors want to win a championship, they'll need him to guard those guys. And Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, who else? so many of these best players in the NBA are just all big wings that, Klay's not going to guard him anymore, man. So it's it's just going to be a switch. You're just going to be out on the floor with Klay and with Wiggins. So you're going to have to guard those guys with Draymond. So if he's going to be, look at these numbers. I'll let you kind of take over here.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing that stands out to me with Kuminga is he's succeeding at the 3, which like offensively, he's not a 3 the same way like offensively GP2 isn't really a guard, right? And what that tells me is, and this is why Anthony Lamb keeps playing, even though he's a two-way player, and like that play where he missed Steph was hilarious because it was just like, I've never seen Steph clap harder in my life. That
was kind of crazy.
That was pure KD. Like, give me the, like,
that was insane.
But he plays because he understands the role, which is shoot open threes or move the ball. Ironically, he didn't move the ball there, but he does that kind of stay out of the way stretch 4 thing, which is what they need for Kuminga to thrive. Kuminga needs to be the guy who's a 2-3 on defense, checking the best perimeter guy, but then on offense, he's a 5 cutting, right? It's like the Sean Marion role. It's the GP2 role. And it begs the question with the Warriors, like Anthony Lamb is kind of just a replacement level player who does that role right now. But it's like, you're looking at this, you're like, this works. Draymond at the 5, a stretch 4, Kuminga. It works. We've seen it work. We know they have the guards to make it work. Like Dante, Poole, Steph, Klay, they all make it work. And it's just like, can they figure out what they want to do with the 4 spot with those lineups to make it work? And that's the only reason I pull up these numbers, because when you have Kuminga, Lamb, and Draymond together, they are plus 59.5 right now. Like, they're just destroying teams. And it's nothing you don't know. Draymond at the 5 with wings who can grind on defense and the requisite amount of spacing. No one can beat that healthy. It's always like a suspension, an ankle twist, like that sort of. It's no one's been able to beat it. Maybe the Pelicans, maybe Zion and those 50 wings will be the team who retires the Warriors in 4 years or something like that. But like to date, no one's been able to beat it, right? So to me, it also brings up the point which we talk about every week. But it's like this team really just feels like one role player away from just being back in business, going to roll through the playoffs just like they did last year.
I agree. And that role player may be – I know what you're trying to say is that role player should be the guy over Lamb. I agree with you on that. I think some of the magic has worn off there. But I think maybe it's just Kuminga just being better and progressively progressing even means maybe
it's just a Wiggins Kuminga front court. You're right.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think some of it's maybe even Moses Moody, who played a little bit yesterday, but maybe wasn't great, but wasn't bad. I think part of it is him. Hey, our guy Wiseman is having a pretty solid G League stint last couple of games, so maybe it's that. But I agree. I think
he's
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch it. So I'm going off what people are telling me, man. It looks like he's playing better. Good for him.
Playing within himself and within the role. I did watch it.
Oh boy,
encouraging. The scouting report is the last 3 games he's done what we thought he would do the first 5 games in the G League. He's playing within himself and he's physically dominating. It's a G League. If he does this for a few more games, time to call him back up and see if he can actually do it with the big club. But it's what you kind of want to see. Anyway, back on topic.
His Kuminga stuff is huge, though. It is huge because it's not that this is a luxury. They need this. They need this to sustainably win basketball games. It's not last season. It's not Kuminga, give us this, and if you can't give it to us, we'll keep it moving. We're okay without you this season. Nah. And it's so difficult I don't think we realize how difficult it is for someone like him or anyone to come into the NBA and do this, basically play like a role player, except he's never, ever been a role player in his life, which is why we expected Moses Moody to figure it out, and Moses Moody hasn't, which is surprising to me, you and I. But somehow Kuminga is the one that's figuring out, despite the fact that when has he ever been the guy that the coach has said, Kuminga, like, don't shoot. Right now, one of Kuminga's problems is that he gets the ball deep and he doesn't shoot the ball. And I don't think that's his fault. That's for sure Steve Kerr just telling him, hey, you're always going to have to look for a guy, right? You're always going to have to look to get people involved and make the right pass. To me, that's not Kuminga's fault right now. But to have him change his mindset and play like this and do it successfully is super impressive. Even though you could argue, like, hey, you didn't know this coming into the season. Come on. Like, they were trying to drill this into you last year. But, he's 20, whatever, 21, 18. I don't know. I never know his age.
20.
But
20. He is legitimately 20 as of October. I want to talk about this real quick because this is kind of irking me just a little bit. Steph Curry was once again the best player on the basketball court on Saturday night against the Boston Celtics. Casual 32, 7, and 6. Did you know Steph is averaging another 50, 40, 90, 30 points per game, 7 assists, 6.6 rebounds. He keeps getting better rebounding the ball. And look, man, I get the Warriors have been on a shitty start. I just am confused why people like Luka are apparently MVP candidates and Steph Curry isn't. We're putting up a thing from the Score right now. It says, who's your MVP? Tatum, Doncic, Jokic, or Giannis? There's only one player on this list I would be like, I get it if he gets the MVP, and that's Giannis. That's the only player I feel comfortable with that. Everyone else, I'm just looking at them. I'm like, it's abundantly clear Steph's playing at a higher level than every one of these guys. And more importantly, outside of Boston, none of these teams were particularly that much better than the Warriors. They have a better record by 2 games. The Denver Nuggets are 2.5 games ahead of the Warriors. Is that really the difference between like, oh, he's leading his team to the MVP versus they're struggling? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a big awards guy, but I just kind of want to call it out because like Steph's playing so out of his mind, and it's absurd to me that we've never seen a guy at this age play that way, that it's not like a bigger talking point nationally.
NBA.com doesn't even have him in his top 5, and I don't think they had him in his top 10 even. And I think I can give you maybe one historical point that proves your point is LeBron was doing this similar to what Steph is doing right now when he was 34, 35. And that is all we ever heard was about what LeBron's doing this at age 35. It is unbelievable.
Year 16.
Yeah, exactly. It's all we ever heard. And you could argue Steph's even doing it better because Steph actually is doing it coming off a championship, and he's doing it on a team that
being a teammate.
Go win another championship. Okay, to your, maybe I'll give you Tatum. Like, I'm agree with you and Giannis. I could give you Tatum because the Celtics are 20. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, 21-5.
Sure,
so I could give you
Tatum. Saturday night made him look bad, but end of the day, the Celtics have been a machine.
Yeah, I could give you that one, but dude, you're right. I mean, Luka. You watch Luka, and you're like, holy shit, this team is fucking awful. I mean, it is awful.
Dude,
so yeah,
so bad. Like, and by the way, like
Mark Cuban should get fined. He should fine himself. It is pathetic what they've done.
And Mark Cuban might have Luka ending up on the Warriors post Steph, so we can't get too mad at him.
Whoa, Sam Soil.
I just think the way Dallas is trending, I don't think Luka's sticking around, but it's too early for those takes.
He's the free agent when?
The same year Steph's contract ends, 2026.
Oh, boy.
So we got time. All I'm saying is, like, does it not feel like a Cavs LeBron scenario where you're like, I don't see how this is getting better. Meanwhile, you're gonna find it just doesn't feel positive.
I guess we haven't heard anything from Luka's camp, right? I guess, but
it's also it's too early too. That's the other thing.
Like, the NBA, it's never too early for players to start to want to leave. Not in today's NBA, baby.
That's right. We got a Woj bomb about Bob Myers.
What was that about? So I know nobody talked about it because I just think nobody gives a shit about GM drama. Like, nobody cares, but. I just don't think anyone's taking it seriously until we get to like close to the end of the season. Bob leaked it, obviously, to kind of get some pressure on Joe. But what was the point?
Oh, TK is gonna ask Bob if he leaked it, and Bob's gonna do the fake tears. I would never do that. I would
start
never
crying on impact. It's like so obvious that Bob had told Woj this and hey, post this before, and it's ESPN or
just the timing was
game.
beautiful.
Saturday night game, so everybody's locked in. It's like post that I haven't gotten a contract extension. It is kind of weird though. It is kind of odd that he's not. I mean, is it normal for GMs not to get extended? It's kind of, I guess it's not like it's not like a bad thing because it doesn't necessarily matter for players. It can't be a distraction, but that is odd.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I think it just means he wants a contract extension. That's all. All I gathered from it is Joey Lightyear's lowballing him. He's like, "Hey, my tax bill's high, buddy. You're supposed to help me here."
So I think. You know, if it's not Bob, who else is it going to be? It's going to be Kirk, friend of the show? No.
Hey, man. Per sources, Kirk was asking if you want to be assistant GM.
Yeah,
when he stages his coup.
I need Bob out of there. I'm coming in. And you know what the first thing I'm doing is? I'm going down to the G League and I'm getting rid of those guys. Getting some win now players on the team. All right, what's next?
All right. Warriors got a big road trip coming up. The Warriors are 6-game East Coast road trip, longest road trip of the season. They don't play at home again until Christmas. They are gone. Now, we will be back Tuesday with friend of the show, Waz, to recap the Bucks game. Bucks game is like do we think that's the sexiest game on the road trip? There's a lot of good ones here.
Can I give you a take as I was looking at this? You know what I'd do if I were the Warriors? I think you know what I'd do if I were the Warriors. I'd sit them
and then just beat up Indiana the next day.
Beat the shit out of I'd take the win. Give me the you know what I mean? That's what I would do.
They're not gonna do that. Yeah.
I know. But you run the risk. Risk.
They've played that game many times this year.
It is a very, very real scenario. You and I sit across from each other on Friday night, and they are 0-3 on the road trip and 2 games into 500. It is very real.
I would also love to just see them sit Clay and Steph on separate games. Like the whole the Utah when it's Poole and Clay made more sense than like everyone sitting and. But anyway, let's get back to it. So they got the Bucks Tuesday, the Pacers Wednesday, Big Jim Harden and the 76ers on Friday.
Oh, it's gross.
The Raptors feels like a sit game. Just don't even bother crossing the border. And then you got the 2 New York teams
that's a winnable game though.
Who are not good, but it's like game 5 and game 6 of a week-long road trip. My question for you is, what would you consider success on 6-game road trip?
3-3. They've got to win. They've got to win these 3 games. They've got to win Indiana, Toronto, and New York. Got to win those. Other 3, fine. You lose.
You let Kevin get his win. You let Kevin and Kyrie get their win.
They're playing well.
I mean, Kyrie could be in a new controversy by that game. He might be off.
10 days from now, 100% easily. But
been quiet for a couple weeks.
He has been quiet. That team has been. The vibes have been too good with that team. Some shit's got to happen. Some shit's got to go down. They got to win those 3 games, man. They got to win. And I assume that Indiana, they're gonna, barring Steph playing 38 minutes or 43 in an OT game on Tuesday night or something like that. I assume they'll play the back-to-back. Let's say they lose a close one, whatever, in Milwaukee. It looks like Chris Middleton got hurt again, so maybe they can win that one. But here's the thing. They got to win those 3. Also, at some point, you have to show up on the road. It is embarrassing for a team that is now this deep into the season and supposedly this good, and you've shown up on Saturday night to show that you are the champion, all this stuff. End of the day, you're still 14-13. That's your record. And at some point, you're going to have to show you can do this on the road. So, yeah, man, 3-3. Just 3-3. That's objectively a lot better than they've been on all season.
I'm calling the 5-1.
You're fucking sick. That's not.
I'm considering 3 the minimum for success. 5.
Wow.
5. We're printing shirts. You know, Sheed's gonna get a pink hat for you. We're gonna be good to go. I think they beat Milwaukee Tuesday. I think the game means more to the Warriors than it means to the Bucks. I think they're going to go in and get that W. I think Philly is a mess. I mean, none of these, again, everyone in the NBA is 500. So it's not like there's anything particularly special going on. Indiana, I could see them losing that one. Philly, I think they win. They have a day off. Then they have a day off against Toronto, another team who's been whatever. And then you got the Knicks and the Nets. Like, they should. I think the Warriors are going to turn a corner. I think this road trip will be the road trip where they wake up and just create a little separation. You know, they're not going to get up to the 1 or 2 seed. They'll be like the 5 seed, but just like do something to make some noise here. The reasons I think that is like Kuminga's establishing himself. Dante DiVincenzo, who we haven't talked about, is finally starting to come together. Clay's and Draymond, at this point, Draymond is, we don't even talk about Draymond and Steph, but they're both playing championship level basketball. Looney, who we didn't even talk about, my goodness, just dominant in his role against Boston. Like, is there a better role player in the NBA than Looney?
No. Especially for the price point that he's getting paid at. I mean, come on, he's a bargain too. It's insane.
Yeah, just you know, Farhan would just be all about him. Just wins above dollar level. It's the best.
No, we're not talking Giants. We're not fucking talking Giants. Okay.
But my point is, it does feel like the Warriors are primed to go on a mini run. I have the same concerns as you. They don't have enough bodies that, like, over the next 55. I don't know how comfortable I feel, but it does feel like they're pushing what should theoretically be a, they win 8 out of 10. They win 13 out of 15, like one of those type of situations. I think they're pushing that way. Just gut instinct. I have nothing to go off of other than what I'm seeing and the vibes that are starting to percolate. They're starting to feel good. So that's just where I'm at. Maybe I'm going to just try speaking into existence. Maybe that's what's up.
I felt this way going into that game in Indiana. And to me,
and then Andrew Nemhart was like, not tonight, Andy.
And that's exactly why I'm hesitant about this. So anyway, we'll see. But this team, it's not like they're not good enough to beat all these teams. It's just they haven't done it yet this season. And like you said, though, Kuminga's a big piece, man. So do we, real quick, before we get to our next 7, you think Wiggins comes back? And if he does, on the road, when do you think he comes back on the road trip?
He's back from Milwaukee? Touch on that. The way they're talking about it, I think he, at worst, we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't sound like I feel pretty good he's not missing the road trip. I would not be surprised if he sat the Milwaukee, Indiana game. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. The way they're talking about it, if it was a playoff game, he'd play today.
Good. Okay.
And so I'm happy to I feel pretty confident he's coming back. That's it. Also, Wiggins, he is very important to this team, but I don't know that he's necessarily as important versus Milwaukee as some other matchups.
Ooh, I don't know.
I mean, he's important in the sense of he might be your second or third best scorer, but like they don't have like you said, Middleton. Is he going to play?
No. Yeah.
I don't really need Wiggins guarding Pat Connaughton. It's not as important as other. Obviously, it's a blow, but like matchup wise, like missing Looney against Giannis would be a significantly bigger blow. That's what I'm excited. Did you realize that Draymond has not played against Giannis in 4 years?
Wait, really?
Dude, one of them has sat every time. They only play twice a year. So,
well, the Warriors played.
That might be why I'm so hyped about this matchup. To be perfectly honest with you, it's like the I want to see how the the Draymond Looney combo looks against Giannis. Like, obviously Giannis is an MVP and one of the best of all time, but it's just like I kind of think the Warriors match up better against him than most teams.
Yeah, and just give you so Middleton he injured an ankle today, and he tried to come back in the game and left. By the way, so knowing how cautious the Bucks have been with Middleton all season, just coming back, it just wouldn't surprise me.
Fair bet that he's probably not playing Tuesday.
Yeah, Warriors need to win some games. They need to win some games. Good place to start.
It would be nice. It would be nice to get some W's. All right. We tried something new this week, guys. I opened a voicemail line. Some of you thought I was just giving out a phone number on Twitter. Come on, man. It's the official Light Years hotline. And as usual, the goons did not disappoint.
Oh, boy.
So
I'm actually scared. I'm actually concerned.
Andy, I've listened to some of them, but Andy is not. And purposely, I did not let him listen to them.
Oh, my God.
We're going to be reacting to your guys' calls. We might start doing this more often. When we don't go live, I need you guys to call in. We need more goon activity on the show. So, Tim, you want to pull them up? We ready?
Listen, I'm in the bathroom right now at a fucking white elephant party, and I just wanted to call in to say, let's fucking go! What a win! I'm stoked. This is David. I'm in a bathroom. I'm excited. I'm a little drunk. I don't know how the hell we won that game. How do we lose to all these shitty teams and then beat the fucking Boston Celtics? My hot take is that we don't need to make a trade. We're not going to make a trade. We're going to be just fine. I only believe that 25%. I still finally kind of believe that we need a trade, but I'm feeling good right now. So I'm saying this. Okay, bye.
Wow. Batting leadoff. That's who's the best leadoff hitter in baseball? Mookie Betts, maybe? I don't know. That was elite. First off, I'm calling from the bathroom at a white elephant park. Clearly his girl dragged him to it.
Yeah.
And the whisper denotes that he's been yelled at to be present and not just focus on the Warriors game. Like, David, my friend, I know you got into a fight at 4:30 that day where you tried to compromise. You said, let me watch the game and I will talk with your friends all night. We both been there.
Well, you know, the thing is, I think I know what he did. I think he stayed in the bathroom the last 35 minutes of the game. My guy David stayed in the bathroom, then realized after he called, he said, "Oh, the apps! I've been in here for an hour. I gotta go."
I had a bad reaction to the apps. I've been there. You know, it just gotta. Sorry.
The goon energy, man. Oh my god.
Let's get to the next one.
What's up, Light Years? I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I was actually on a date tonight, and we went and got drinks after dinner to watch the game. Huge Warriors fan. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, so Steph is a huge fan to me. But the guy I was on a date with hates Steph Curry, and I just didn't realize how bad it was when we were watching this game. It was hilarious. Like, Steph was just going off, and he just, like, would just turn around. He couldn't even, like, look at the screen when he was going off. And I just was like, Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. He thinks Steph is overrated. Just, like, complete nonsense. I eventually was like, was he the greatest shooter on the team? He wouldn't even admit that. I was like, is he the greatest shooter in his family? He couldn't even admit that. At the end of the night, he eventually just said, like, Steph is good at what he does. And that's, like, as far as I got with him. So, I've been living in Ohio for, like, 10 years. And the hate that Ohio fans have for Steph Curry is truly, truly comical. So being a Warriors fan in Ohio has just been such an incredible, hilarious experience. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. Shout out to the Goons. Love the pod. Love what you guys are doing. I hope I make it to the podcast today. All right.
Oh, with a call like that, there was never a doubt we were going to add you to the show. Wow.
Is there a second date? No chance. No shot.
Let's flip it. What would you do if your first date was a Bron stan who's just bitter? Because I feel like the energy with Warrior fans and LeBron fans is like Warrior fans just, it's always a win. Four against one, you know, or 3 against 1 in terms of the times they matched up. So like, even if you can get sensitive and upset about it, You always have the higher. They get a lot more bitter. There's a lot of what if KD didn't go? Well, what if this didn't happen?
Yeah. It's always a lot. It's always a lot more angst. But you know me, man. I don't care. You know what I mean? It could be a prize. She's cute. You know, I'm all in. But all I know though is Sam. The Light Years Goons are the best listeners, fans in the world because she called us after the date, assuming that the date didn't go well. Called the pod boys and just let them have it. I love it. This makes me so happy.
We need more post-date calls. I need you guys to call when you have a date that involves watching a Warriors game. Let me know what your non-goon date thinks. Let's get to the next one.
What's good, Sam and Andy? My hottest take is Jonathan Kuminga will be our 7th guy come playoff time. He'll be our most impactful defender off the bench. He'll come in right after Poole in all our playoff series. We'll even throw out some lineups with him and Wiggins on the court together, like what we saw tonight when Kerr put in Kuminga for Looney when we go small. I think we'll see a Draymond, Wiggins, Kuminga front court in the playoffs in a couple of matchups. I'm buying the Kuminga stock now. It's going up and it's taking off from here. Go Dubs, Light Years, baby. What's up, Light Years? Another hot take for you. Can this be the game that gets the Draymond DPOY hype train going again? We missed out on that award last year. If he had stayed healthy, that was his for the taking. Can we start to drum up some support for that? Use this game as a launching point. Didn't have too many highlight-worthy plays on defense, but man, shut down the best half-court offense of all time tonight without Wiggins. I think Dre's got to get a lot of credit for that. That's my take.
Oh, I appreciate it. Draymond DPOY.
Back-to-back takes. Let's give him another 10 games. Warriors have been shit defensively.
I mean, he should be the decade DPOY.
Yeah,
I'm going to die on the Draymond Hill because it just bothers me when people don't give him the respect he deserves over the last decade. But anyway, good call. Let's get to the next one, Timmy.
Yo, Sam and Andy. This is your boy at that rascal Reggie on Twitter. Happy for the win against the Celtics. Guys look great. Kuminga looked great. But I'm still pissed about the Jazz loss. The Warriors owed me for that loss, man, because I went to cold-ass Salt Lake City to watch them beat the Jazz, but they just collapsed. So I'm still on that. But good win tonight. Good job by you guys. Love listening to the pod. All right, take it easy.
Oh, I wish we could ask Reggie, like, how far are we talking going to Salt Lake? Like, was it a 20-minute drive or was it a 2.5-hour flight? You know, like,
wow. I mean, if he lives in SoCal, it's not bad, right? So he could just drive there. But going to Salt Lake, although I hear Salt Lake, I've been to Salt Lake a couple times. You ever been to Salt Lake, Sam?
I have not been to Salt Lake.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Like the snow, anyway.
I am hitting up Colorado in a month or so for my buddy's bachelor party, so I'll take in some of that. But anyway, that's a little different.
Ooh.
Yeah. So how bitter would you be going to a Warriors game out of market and it ending the way that Jazz game ended?
You know, for me, you rarely do you see an ending like that. You know, part of it's like at some point you do feel like, you know, it'd have been nice to see a Warriors win. But I can also tell my friends that, hey, you remember that one time the Warriors choked a 4-point lead with 2 seconds left in the game? I was there at that game. So I don't know.
What's the worst?
Big picture wise?
What's the worst choke job you've seen from the Warriors in person?
Look, I wasn't there for Game 7.
I wouldn't call that's a Game 7. I wouldn't call that a choke job in the same vein.
I don't know. Do you? I don't know.
I was there for the 2009 LeBron game winner as a Cav. He hits like a fadeaway baseline jumper 18 feet away. Very annoying because Steven Jackson hit a shot and then just like full celebration, like all that sort of stuff. Then LeBron hit one walking off. Very annoyed vibe from that game.
Pretty much every game that the Warriors choked away that you can imagine from the years 2014 to 2020, I saw in person. So one of those, if the Warriors choked away one of those, I think like maybe the one that was maybe the most notable was, you remember when the Warriors played the Clippers in the playoffs in the first round that randomly went to 6 games and they lost the game? They were up at like
7
30.
games. Yeah.
No,
oh, I know.
No, not the first, like 2020. Like KD was not 2020.
Oh, I was at that game too. Yeah, no, I remember that one too. The
weird,
the Patrick Beverley top blocking.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was so fucking annoying. Yeah,
it was so weird and annoying. It was just one of those where
2019
series went 6, and I remember like KD had like 45 points a game. And everyone was like, KD's amazing. It's like, dude, the series just went 6 games for no fucking reason. This Clippers team is terrible. And them losing that game, I just don't know how they lost it. I don't know if it was a choke job. I don't think anybody took that series seriously. Nobody took the Clippers seriously. So
it was a vibe loss. That's for sure.
Bad vibe loss. I mean,
Timmy, let's go to the next one.
Sam and Andy, I gotta first, before I even give my take, I gotta say I'm so impressed. What great, you guys are always pushing the boundary. I was heard that you guys weren't real media, but maybe some shows would be developing better if they were trying to reach out to their fan bases in unique and interesting ways like this. So I gotta say, I love the hotline. Anyway, what's up with Tatum being an MVP in every other game, but against the Warriors, he plays like a mental midget? I mean, the dude has no game against us. I don't know if every other team doesn't know he can't go left. Like, I don't know if that's what it is, but man, they looked nice tonight. The defense looked on point. They didn't even have Wiggins. And this is probably the best duo game between Steph and Clay of the season. I didn't even watch it. I'm only looking at the box score, and I'm going to be watching highlights when I get off. But, man, I got to say, we got lots to be excited about. I think this team should comfortably still be the favorites coming out the West. They just gave a shellacking to the best team in the league. The scarier teams are not Boston. The scariest team in the league for the Warriors right now is Milwaukee because they have no answer to Giannis. And then I actually think Memphis might even be scarier than Boston. Boston is an easy 6-game series. It'll be fun, but it's easy. Memphis, if they have home court, that might be a 7-game series. Milwaukee, that's a scary test. I don't know. Love you, boys. Have a good one.
See, now that's a take.
Mikas, we love you. That's kind of why I'm hyped and for the Milwaukee game on Tuesday. I don't know that he's right, but I can't say he's wrong either. I want to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see it. Even if it's early season, even if we all acknowledge later in the season, we'll have a better idea. I just want to watch it. I want to watch Giannis. I want to watch Steph. I want to watch Draymond and Looney try to wrangle him. I want to watch Drew Holiday give Steph his best. I want to watch Grayson Allen trip Jordan Poole and them get mad. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff there. You know, we can get a little Brook Lopez and JaMychal Green. I don't know,
Hey, it's not just by the way, I like this Memphis take. They're a tough team, but there's another team in the West that might be just as good as Memphis, if not better. You know what I mean? Those New Orleans Pelicans, I didn't know how good they were going to be in the preseason, but obviously I've been wrong because they're the best team in the West right now, best record, and their best players don't even play.
They feel like they've I don't want to say skipped a step, but like I wasn't sure if it was going to be this year or like 3 years. You know what I mean?
Well, they might not be a championship team this year, so I think like the step still needs to be taken there. Like what will probably happen if they play the Warriors is they'll lose in 6 games, but they should have probably won 2 of them. Like that's
sure
classic young team stuff. But I mean, dude, that is they own the Phoenix. They destroyed the Phoenix Suns the other day, and
that makes me happy.
Ingram, yeah, right. We know the Suns are frauds, but the Grizzlies and the Pelicans, if you told me the Warriors need to go through those 2 teams, war zones, dude.
I have a
nasty series.
I have a take for you. So measuring team ceilings, not necessarily that they'll reach it, but in the West, I think the Suns are at best the 6th highest ceiling. Got the Warriors 1, got the Clippers 2. And obviously the Clippers won, like we'll see with Kawhi and PG, but like if they're healthy, the ceiling's high, right? I think I have the Pelicans 3. and the Grizzlies 4, and Denver 5. Maybe I put Denver above those, but all those teams are above Phoenix to me. All those teams are above Phoenix to me in terms of if everything hits, if Zion and Ingram and all those guys are healthy, I'm a little more scared of the Pelicans than I am of the Suns. If everything hits correctly for the Grizzlies with health, I'm more scared of them than the Suns. That's what I'm getting at.
The West versus, I think I agree with you. I think I do. Out of those,
you might change the order.
Maybe I throw Denver at 3. Yeah, sure. Maybe I lower the Clippers actually because I just ceiling to them. It's like at some point is the ceiling just not a thing actually for the Clippers.
The ceiling is the roof.
At some point is it not actually a ceiling for those guys? But the West, by the time the playoffs come around, I know Draymond had a quote come out and say, "Not worried about anybody in the West." I don't know. Like by the time the playoffs come around, the West might have 5-6 to your point teams that are truly really freaking good, where the East just has 2 teams. Like, okay, they have 2 of the best teams in the league. They maybe have two of the 3 best teams in the world. But if you're a top 3 seed and you got to go through the first 2 rounds, is it anything easier than being in the Eastern Conference? You're telling me I'm just going to have to beat the Hawks and the Sixers in the first 2 rounds? Come on. Right? Like, that's easy. Now your Eastern Conference Finals matchup, Bucks and Celtics, like, that's a war. But you know, you're talking about the East where you might have the Warriors have to go through. They might have to go through the Clippers round 1 and then the Pelicans and then the Grizz. That is objectively, in my opinion, a much harder 3 rounds. I mean, look, 60 games away or whatever the fuck. But
sure,
that's a deep conference, man.
55, but yes. Tim, we got any more?
Hey, I just wanted to say James Wiseman is going to prove you guys wrong. He is going to come good. I don't think we're going to trade him. I don't think we should trade him. But I know James Wiseman is going to come good. I just have a sneaky feeling about him. Same thing that happened with Jordan Poole. I think it's going to happen with Wiseman. That's my take. Go Dubs.
Thank you for calling in, Joe.
Joe, the voice changer. I hope so. I hope he's right. Warriors could use him.
On to the next one.
Oh my god. On to the next one.
Fuck Jason Tatum.
Oh.
Wait, can we play it again? Super producer, can we play that again?
Fuck Jason Tatum.
Is that it? That the last call, Tim?
No, I think we got a couple more.
Oh, let's keep it going.
Let's get.
Hey there, I am just calling to say, yo, did you just see Kuminga yam it all over Jason Tatum in this 4th quarter? Hey, this is Karima calling from New York. Bye.
Love when Karima calls. And yes, we didn't probably spend enough time appreciating that dunk. Kuminga also might be a bright lights player. There's a little he gets a little extra excited for those moments.
Him and the rest of the core, right? And Jordan Poole, who I think we know is a bright lights player. He didn't shoot well last night, but I thought he was actually pretty good.
Poole getting that block was my favorite. Yeah. Oh.
Can we hear Can we hear the call before, please? Before I have a thought on Kuminga, but can we hear that one again, Tim?
Fuck Jason Tatum.
I don't even dislike Jason. I actually think that's just a great call.
Yeah, he's kind of a likable dude.
Jason Tatum tweeted, by the way, apparently 2 years ago or a year ago, I think, about how Kuminga is going to be a really good player in this league. So, you know, if there's one guy, I think Tatum was probably a more polished player coming to the league than Kuminga, so he was always going to be better. But, you know, you always thought the Jaylen Brown comparison. You know, you watch the Celtics and seeing how good Jaylen Brown is now. Shoot, I mean, the guy shoots like nothing else. Jaylen Brown's an incredible shooter nowadays, so we'll see if Kuminga can get there. But the athleticism, the size, the tenacity, the aggression that he plays with, Jaylen Brown's really, really aggressive at all times. It's always impressive. So it'd be nice to see. I mean, if Kuminga ends up being something on the same tier of Jaylen Brown, are you kidding me? It's like it's not Kawhi Leonard, but damn close.
Absolutely. Tim, we got any more?
Last one.
Hi. Congrats to Kirk Lacob for his promotion. Like, I mean,
we going out on that? We going out on Woj bombs? Oh man, I think that one's gonna play itself out in our favor, but we'll see.
Do you think so? Okay, since we're not gonna let it out just on that call, so let me ask you this then: do you think that what is the % chance that Joe Lacob doesn't want Bob Myers to be GM anymore?
So what percentage? And
that's why he doesn't want to pay him as much, right? And that's why this
20%.
That's pretty high.
I think there's. Well, I thought that was low, honestly. I think there's a part, but like nothing special.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to manufacture drama because I like drama. But fair enough. We'll be back.
We'll be back Tuesday after the Bucks game. Appreciate it, everyone.